I'm Katie Wells, host of the Maximized Minimalist podcast. I escaped the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood, overwhelmed by clutter and buried under the mental load. Now I live in a home that feels calm, manageable, and made for real life. I have margin in my days, energy for who matters most, and time for slow mornings and silly dance parties in the kitchen with my family. With over 5 million listens, the show has helped women around the world turn their homes into their happy place. Around here, we simplify for more peace, more presence, and more joy. We choose grace over guilt and progress over perfection. And we believe your home should give back more than it takes. I'm here to help you do the same. Come along with me and my guests as we share the real stories, habits, and strategies that help you lighten the load from the inside out. Pull up a seat, friend, and let's do this together. Ready, set, simplify. I came across a quote from James Clear recently that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "Don't ruminate, activate." And I thought, dang, that's the whole thing. This is it right there. If you've ever found yourself standing in a cluttered room thinking, where do I even start? Or maybe spiraling about how it got this way, or wondering if you're doing it quote unquote right, then you know what ruminating feels like. I think anyone who's attempted or decluttered has experienced this. And here's what I've learned. You cannot think your way to motivation. You have to move your way there. So as promised, I am so excited for this episode because I'm going to share 3 stories of 3 women I've been working with recently, 3 completely different situations, 3 completely different stuck points, we'll call them, and one thing in common. They all made massive progress by doing less, not more. Does anyone else want to do that? Hello, yes, please sign me up. I'll take 2. So less planning, less perfecting, and less waiting for the right moment. And before I get into their stories, I want to remind you that my new book, Making Home Your Happy Place, a real life guide to decluttering without the overwhelm, comes out next week. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. February 17th. And the reason I'm telling you that now is because these 3 women, they are living proof of what I teach in that book. Again, this isn't about trying harder. It's about finally understanding what's been keeping you stuck and then using the right tools to get unstuck. Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about Molly. I love Molly. When Molly joined my program, one of the first things she told me was that she hadn't had anyone over to her house in many years. She wouldn't invite her friends, not even her family. She would always just offer to meet somewhere else or drive to their house. And on the surface, it looked like a clutter problem, right? She was like, my house had gotten away from me. Life happened, things piled up. She just felt so overwhelmed to tackle it and let alone invite people in. She was just stuck in shame. And I certainly remember being in a very similar position. And as we started working together, Molly realized within just a few days that something deeper was going on. She was like, I think keeping the house this way and not tackling the clutter and just kind of making excuses for it has been my way of not letting anyone in. And I was like, wow. Great example of the clutter not just being stuff. For Molly, it was a wall. It was protection. And once she saw that, she's like, oh my gosh, all right, something's got to give. So what changed? Molly stopped waiting until her house was ready for people. She stopped thinking she needed a big weekend to make a dent. She started doing 5 minutes here, 25 to thrive there, 10 minutes, 30 seconds, small pockets of progress that added up. And here's the big one. Here's what was even cooler to me than her creating that progress for herself through taking action and identifying really the stuck point with why the clutter was there and it was staying there. She started inviting people over right away. Before her home was quote unquote done, before her home was quote unquote, perfect. She told me, I've made more progress in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last year. And it wasn't because I finally found the time. It was because I stopped hiding. Dang. Molly did a mic drop again. She does a lot of those. She didn't declutter her way to connection. She reconnected to herself and her friends while decluttering. She let people back into her life while the work was still in progress. She did less hiding and everything opened up. And again, this is the healing that this journey gives us. And it's all nuanced and different for us all, right? The second woman is Cassidy. I love Cassidy too. Her block was really different than Molly's. She wasn't hiding from people. She was hiding from decisions. Cassidy was terrified of making a mistake. What if she let go of something and regretted it later? What if she did it wrong? What if she started in this room but was supposed to start in another room? What if she started but then fizzled out? Like her brain was telling her, you've tried this a million times. Why is this time going to be any different? So she would research, she would plan and think about decluttering, but the actual doing kept getting pushed off. Okay. So like a lot of people, she's just like, oh, I need the right strategy. I need to do more. I need to just do the marathon weekend. And maybe I should just quit my job. She also carried a lot of scarcity. Last week, we talked about the 4 clutter types. Scarcity clutter is a big doozy for a lot of us. And her feeling of, what if I need this someday? Or what if I can't replace it? It kept her holding on to things she didn't like, didn't use, again, just in case. One day she messaged me just about a week into starting to work together. And she was like, I've been doing some journaling about why I think for me personally, this has felt so hard. And she had this breakthrough I'm going to share with you because it's going to hit home for some of you, for someone listening. She said, of course, this feels weird and uncomfortable. It feels different because this is different. I'm letting things go instead of holding things on like I always do. That's the whole point. And the discomfort is part of the growth. And I'm like, again, mic drop. My clients are the best. So many mic drops. The discomfort is the growth. She stopped waiting until she felt ready. She stopped worrying, what if I start in this room and want to change to another room? She stopped trying to figure out the perfect approach. She just started one small decision at a time. A few days later, she went through some of her kids' outgrown clothes. Instead of boxing them up and storing them just in case, like she would have even before she joined me, doing just 2 weeks ago, she instead texted a friend with younger kids, dropped them off the same day. She is like becoming a ninja at making decisions, not hustle harder, not wake up at 5 a.m. to declutter for 3 hours before work. She's like, Katie, it feels so amazing to see these clothes actually get used instead of sitting in a bin in my closet, creating all that mental clutter and just making me feel like a failure every day. She's like, I notice I'm also being more intentional with shopping. This often, by the way, goes hand in hand when you're really intentional on working through scarcity clutter in your house, right? Because you also notice the same fear can also show up while you're shopping or online scrolling, right? And she's like, I went to put something in my cart at the store and paused and was like, I don't need this. I don't need this right now. And what used to be a $300 shopping stop was whatever, a $50 shopping stop. Way new for her. Again, it felt different and even at sometimes uncomfortable. Part of the growth. Here's what I love about Cassidy. She did less perfecting, less overthinking, less waiting for certainty, and she started trusting herself through taking small actions and understanding that there is no amount of Mary Poppins magic. There is no magic wand. And if she was going to truly make progress on simplifying her life, which started within her walls of her home, that she had to do something different. Okay, Kate is next. Oh, I love Kate. Kate's a mom. And when she started working with me, she described something I think some of you will recognize. She was like, I am the gatekeeper of the entire house. She was the one who knew where everything was. The only one. She was the only one who seemed to know how to find things, who, when it was time to clean up, like she was the only one that knew where to put things away. So guess what? That meant if she didn't put things away, no one else did. She was managing the papers and the schedules and the stuff. And she's like, I do not feel like a home CEO. I feel like an underpaid, undervalued manager who's working overtime and not getting paid, right? And she's like, I laugh, but trust me, I felt like Kate, and it was exhausting, and I've been in her shoes. I know some of you were there or have been there too and can relate. Her main workspace in the house had also become a catch-all. Bills, school papers, random things that didn't have a home. And every time she looked at that area, she's like, instant overwhelm, right? And here's what's interesting. She almost mentioned as an afterthought that she's like, oh, I have a filing cabinet she hadn't used in years because it was too filled with old stuff. She's like, it's been like that for so long. I forgot it was even there. And she had this light bulb moment. Well, what if I just went through that cabinet first so I could actually use it for the stuff that's piling up now? And then that could live in there, and that would kind of kill two birds with one stone, right? And that's what happens when we stop staring at the problem and start moving. Solutions appear. And sometimes before solutions, actually every time, it's questions. And if we don't have immediate answers or solutions to those questions, whether we ask a friend, she's in my program, so she reached out directly to me. I responded right away. Solutions are huge because they give us clarity. So important. The path becomes so much more clear. Again, what I'm reiterating in all these stories is they weren't bending over backwards. They weren't quitting their jobs. They weren't giving up time with their families in order to make progress. Clutter, as I always say, it's layered, it's nuanced, it's personal. So personal. Man, so personal. And that makes it equal parts like complex, but also simple, because we're all wired. We're all human beings. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I love it. And Kate also realized that her clutter problem and her systems problem were deeply connected. She had a lack of systems and too much clutter. The reason everything was piling up was because nothing had a home. And the reason she was so overwhelmed because she was the only one who could navigate it. So again, we started with decluttering. We started with solutions to her answers or her questions and simple systems, just ones to test out. And here's what I love about Kate. She said, hey, I got it done. The filing cabinet cleared. I got my new labels and folders in there. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. And I want to live with this for a little while and see what's working and what needs tweaks. A week later, messages me, hey, Katie, following up. It's still working. It's working beautifully. Oh my gosh, it's like so easy. It's like I think so many of us look for these long, exhaustive, like what's the perfect, we need to add more steps. But it's just like we're decluttering our environments. Maybe we need to declutter the steps. Simplify, simplify, simplify. And she had this beautiful reframe. One day she sent me a photo of her kitchen table covered in kids' art supplies. Paint everywhere, paper everywhere. She said, Katie, I'm choosing to see this as expected mess, not clutter. I'm choosing to take this time, get messy with the kids, have fun together on this art project. And she's like, what a shift. Because Kate 1.0 would have looked at this, been overwhelmed, told myself I was a failure, told myself like, oh, this is horrible. We need to clean this up right away. And she goes, honestly, I wouldn't have even done this with my kids. Wow. Again, our physical environments, we are so intricately wired to them. And it's like the mental clutter wired into that, shifting those stories we're telling ourselves. Kate did less controlling, less trying to manage everything herself, and her home started to work with her, and her family started to work with her instead of it all falling on her shoulders. So here's the thread. 3 completely different situations. Molly was using clutter, she realized, to just hide. Cassidy was using perfectionism to avoid making mistakes. Kate was drowning under the mental load of being the only one who could find anything and do anything. But here's what they all had in common. They stopped overthinking and they started moving. What did James Clear say? Don't ruminate, activate. And here's another thread I want to share. All 3 of them at some point, as a lot of my clients do, we hit points as we get started where our body and our nervous system are like, you're looking at the mess, you're looking at the clutter, and you're like, man, how did you let it get so bad? It literally brings tears to my eyes. I used to think this all the time. Katie, how did you let it get so bad? How could you do this? You're smart. Why can't you figure this out? This is pathetic. Like, I'm sorry. I have the worst inner critic. It's improved. I've learned to quiet her. a lot of days, but she was mean. She was ruthless, right? And these women all very vulnerably shared, they experienced that rumination. I can't believe it's so bad. Oh my gosh, I just want to hide. I don't want to deal with this. This is too much work. Our brain's just trying to protect us. Yet they moved anyway. They activated, they took action anyway. They didn't have the perfect plan, which doesn't exist. They didn't have the perfect schedule. They were still leading very full lives. Some parents, some grandparents, some caregivers, there was less waiting for the right moment. And when they did, things started to shift, not because they tried harder, quit their jobs or whatever, or finally got their act together. You know how many times I said, well, this week I'll have my act together. This week I'll do it. Nope, never happened. When we stop fighting ourselves and start working with what's actually going on in between our ears, it's crazy how much easier it is to activate instead of ruminate. That's what I mean when I say decluttering isn't about your stuff. You guys, this is about you. This is about you listening. This is about me. It's about all of us. It's about understanding why clutter is there in the first place. And the reality is what it's been protecting you from. If chapter 1, get ready for a deep dive into my personal story. And I promise you, it's going to crack something open in you. What it's been protecting you from, similar to Cassidy's story, right? I think in some sense, we can all relate to that, whether we recognize it now or not. But I share that in chapter 1 in the book. I think it's an under discussed part of the clutter, conversation. And once you start seeing these things, the letting go part gets so much easier, which is the activation, right? Activate, activate, activate. My book, Making Home Your Happy Place, like I said, it is out. Oh my gosh, February 17th. And I wrote it for women like Molly, like Cassidy, like Kate, like you. Women who've tried the systems and the bins and the purges and still felt stuck. Women who know there's something deeper going on, but haven't been able to name it. This book will help you name it. And then it will help you move through it. So grab it wherever you want, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the link is in the show notes. Tons of online retailers carry it. So if any of these stories resonated with you today, I'd love for you to share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. Someone who I think at the end of the day just needs to know that they're not alone, right? So you know what to do. Ready, set, simplify, and I'll see you next week. Bye.